Hey guys, Marstinkin here, bringing you another Dragon Ball Z Dokkan battle video, and yes, it finally happened after many hours of attempting on stream. Funnily enough, looking back at the start of this rotation, this is a starting rotation that if I had seen, like, if I'd been loading it up and just seen that they were the first 3 units in the wheel, I might have just immediately quit. But I decided to keep going, and it is kind of funny looking back that this is actually the run that we get the W, because this starting rotation is awful. You know, 13 is getting big bad bosses from Android 21. My one is, of course, Rainbow level 10 links. I am using the guest friend, so the guest friend is Rainbow level 5 links, which means big bad bosses will only be active when you are under a certain amount of HP. I think at level 5 it's like 90% maybe. I'd have to double check, but it's not active all the time. So as you can see, we started off by taking a super attack. Then we did get a stun with 13. 21 obviously heals us a little bit when she super attacks. And then the 13 in the final slot, which is the friend one, did not get the stun. But obviously he does have big bad bosses active now because our health is so low. And we go into the second turn. And the second turn we don't have Cell. So Cell was in slot 7 at the very start. Literally making this one of the worst starting setups that you can possibly get, because if you do get demolished on the first turn like we did, at least you have Cell coming in on the second turn to give you the heal sometimes, right, which gets you off to a nice start. So it's actually really funny watching this back, seeing how on the back foot I was right at the start. But yeah, so this rotation, very, very strong defensively. 8 and 17 are actually really good. Mine have like all dodge and additional because they don't really need to do damage, so they don't. I think they might have some crit, but barely any. Ideally, what I want them to be doing is potentially additional supering for the stun chance, and then obviously dodging some attacks here and there. And after so many hours of like failing on stream because Tech 16 wouldn't guard, although he is here, so shout out to him for this turn. A lot of the times when I've been retrying this stage, I've been putting 8 and 17 in slot 1, because once they take that first hit, they get a defensive buff and they do guard. So, essentially, they will tank better than 16 if he's not guarding. Well, obviously, if his guard does go off, then he does tank slightly better than them, but you don't have to take the risk of whether or not they are going to guard. So, we managed to survive through that second turn, go into the third turn, get the Cell heal. I mean, I would be very interested to see if anyone could do it, obviously before the tech androids come out, but I'm pretty sure Cell is like 100% required for this. I believe we get his transformation in every single fight. Not really surprising. I mean, 21 with her heal is obviously very helpful, but just getting this backup full heal from Cell is obviously very, very useful. So I'm targeting the physical enemy here for his 18 key super, because he does lower attack on his 18 key. Obviously, he's getting big bag bosses from 21, and then we are getting the Android support from Android 13. The other thing you have to keep in mind as well is once you get to a little bit deeper into the event and you get to the turn where Android 13 will then transform, he himself becomes stronger, but he stops being a support unit, which then hurts the rest of the rotation overall. So ideally you do want to try and get the phases done as quickly as possible. But yeah, Cell able to tank reasonably well after attack lowering the physical one, and then 21 comes in, gets a nice big crit on the tech one. So her tanking is pretty reasonable with big bad bosses after a super, especially with, you know, after lowering some of the enemy's attack. 13 coming in with a nice clutch stun on the tech guy in the third slot here. Sorry, the int guy. Tech guy's been attack lowered, so he didn't do too much damage to him. And so we've managed to control this first fight really, really well. I am actually, like I said it again at the beginning, but like I am very shocked after watching this back, because I did multiple runs in a row. I've got my new phone, I tweeted about it, I had it all set up here. I was just kind of laying on the couch and keeping the recording going. So this was actually like an hour into the recordings. So by the time I got to the end of this run, I didn't remember what the beginning was, right? I've just been letting the camera roll every time I fail and then start again. And obviously now, as I'm doing the editing process, I've just cut all the runs before this one out. So I actually completely forgot how terrible the start was for this. So we definitely did get some good luck here to claw this back and survive at the beginning, get the heal from Cell, and now we are back on track because we get the stun with 8 and 17, and then 16 comes in, finishes off the tech enemy, And then we've got 13 at the end here attacking the physical enemy. I always like to try and stun the physical enemy if I have the option to on the turn before Cell is going to be coming onto the rotation, because obviously I don't want Cell to be getting hit with a super attack. As you guys will have seen if you watched any of the streams, basically with the way this team works, only certain units on the team can even hope to tank a super attack, but pretty much no one on the team apart from 8 and 17 or 16 if he guards are able to tank a type disadvantage super attack. So something that was happening a lot on these attempts is I'd get down into a situation like this where it's what, turn 4 or 5 or something like that. There's only 2 enemies left with barely any health, and then the physical one would super attack Cell, and it's just instantly GG. Or like the AGL one super attacks Android 21 or Android 18, and even if they've been attack lowered multiple times, like a type disadvantage super pretty much just kills anyone on this team if they're not guarding. So 21 coming in clutch at the end there as well with the supers, so we get a good old heal and we're able to go into the second fight basically on full health, and we have our defensive rotation here. We also have 13 in the third slot with only attacks from Rildo, so this is pretty much one of the perfect setups for going into the second fight here. And so I'm going to go for the stun on Rildo, just because he's the one that's attacking throughout the whole of the last part of the turn. The tech enemy is normally the one I consider the most dangerous, because obviously we are running the double Android 13s, and we are running the friend one, who is a little bit weaker. But just with the way the attacks are laid out here, it would obviously be super beneficial to stun Rildo, and then Cell is going to be able to tank the tech guy next turn. So we do get the stun. We dodge the super from the tech guy as well. Like, 8 and 17 definitely shone in this run. If you haven't like fully farmed them up, obviously their event's not around. Hopefully you did. If you haven't actually like finished, you know, rainbowing them or anything like that, and you've just kind of left the copy sat in your box. If you do struggle with this stage, you know, just clearing it normally, I know a lot of people don't care about no item runs. They are definitely a good unit to consider. One of the things that makes this rotation so good is they share 3 links with Android 16 that I think are all defensive links. So the 2 of them linked together, they give each other a ton of extra defense. So once you start throwing in things like the 21 and 18's attack lowering, they start, like, both those guys will tank really, really well. And 16, as much as we have all the memes from the many streams about him not guarding, as long as he super attacks first, he will actually tank normal attacks for double digits, even if he doesn't guard. But obviously super attacks will be a huge issue. So here we have Rildo stunned, so we only have to worry about the attacks from the tech guy, which Cell will be very easy to tank. We got pretty lucky with the attack placement for this turn as well, because I believe all of the, if I saw that correctly, yeah, all of the attacks from the tech guy are in slot 1, except for the one at the very end. So we have Cell dealing a nice big chunk of damage to him, and then 21 coming in with the attack lower. I am taking a risk here. I am basically rolling the dice that he's not going to super attack Android 13, because he's been attack lowered, and then I'm getting 13 here to try and keep the stun train on Rildo, which we do, but disaster strikes, he super attacks, 423k. Honestly, when I saw that number come up, I thought I was dead. So we managed to survive. We've got like 12% HP. So I put 16 in slot 1, because we don't have to take any risks with his guard, because Rildo is stunned. And his attack should finish off the tech enemy. And then, of course, 8 and 17 will come in with the chance to stun. If they don't stun, he is at least attack lowered. And then 18 attacking him in the final slot is obviously going to be attack lowering him as well. But 16 does finish him off. Takes the additional normal to do so. But he is actually able to finish him off. And then we don't get the additional stun to keep the stun lock on Rildo. But he's still stunned for this turn, so he's not going to be able to super attack 18 here. She's going to get off a couple of attacks. Easy 18 is really good. She provides the support. If you have an Android ally on rotation, she has the chance to additional. So mine has quite a lot of additional in her hidden potential. So she can very often do, as you see here, and get a triple super. So we've just lowered his attack 3 times. So we can go ahead and play out the rotation here. Now, I hesitated a little bit because obviously a super attack from him is still going to hurt even with the attack lowering. And I really don't want to get the Dokkan attack because I'm noticing that the gauge is getting really close to being full. But unfortunately, Rildo has a lot of health. And this is something that plagued a lot of these attempts, was I would get right to the end of this second fight and basically just be unable to avoid getting the Dokkan attack, which obviously ideally you want to get it going into the third fight so that you can actually get a nice start off to that fight by chipping away at everybody a little bit. But I believe we are unable to finish him off here, and we do actually have to waste the Dokkan attack. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, because look how much health he's got left. So we're pretty much at a point where we have no choice but to get the Dokkan attack. And considering that this run is going pretty well, at least at this point, right? We've got Rildo attack lowered multiple times. We've got an okay pool of health here. And unfortunately, we're just going to have to get the Dokkan attack. I could have put 16 in slot 1, because obviously his Dokkan attack probably, almost undoubtedly, would do more damage than the 8 and 17. But then, of course, we run the risk of what if he super attacked in slot 1 and 16 didn't guard? We would just be instantly dead. Whereas at least if he super attacks in slot 1, 8 and 17 will guard guaranteed. So we hit all the nodes. You know, they're rocking like a 1.8 million attack stat, which is alright, I guess, for a free-to-play unit with no support unit on the rotation because 13 is transformed. But yeah, they're not going to do any significant amount of damage here. 1 million damage, but they get the stun. So that keeps us alive at least for, you know, the remainder of the turn. We don't have any risks left to come. I think, does 13 finish him off here? 13 has type advantage. I was kind of hoping that 13 would not finish him. He does not. Good. Because we want to go into the last fight with the defensive rotation. Because if we go into the last fight, like say we had this rotation, this is very dangerous. Because if there's multiple attackers in slot 3, 18 can only attack lower one of them. 21 could obviously attack lower one of the other ones. And then Cell is the best tank on this particular rotation, whilst not really being the best tank. So if we put him in slot 1 in the third fight, and there's even one super attack, we probably don't survive until the end of the turn. So there are so many factors that go into this for it to all go down smoothly. And yeah, starting off with this rotation is very, very good, because 13 in slot 3 is a little bit beefier than Android 18. Although, of course, he has no big bad bosses active on this turn. So I'm just trying to think here how exactly I want to play this out. So I'm going for the stun attempt on Rildo, just because he's attacking the most all throughout every single slot. And then we'll go ahead and target Dr. Mew with Android 16, because obviously we have the type advantage. Now, the one disadvantage to using Android 16 in slot 2 is obviously every time he gets hit and he guards, he does buff his own attack a little bit. So attacking with him is kind of like a Tech Gohan situation, right? Like attacking with him before he's taken hits, he is obviously going to be a lot weaker. But you're not running the risk of him just not guarding in slot 1 and you getting absolutely destroyed. Because, as I did say earlier on, as long as he's super attacked, he can actually tank normal attacks reasonably well after that. So we should be all good. This Int Baby, I swear, like super attacks in slot 1 basically every time as well, which is another reason why I didn't want to run the risk of 16 not guarding. But he does guard here. I actually wasn't double checking throughout the course of this, as we've been discussing, like the team build and stuff. I don't think he guarded every single time, but I also don't believe there was a situation where he didn't guard like a really big super attack, because obviously we did survive. We don't get the stun on Baby with the first super attack from Android 13. Do we get it off of the additional? We did, yeah. I thought he was stunned for the second turn. So, yeah, stunning Baby there is pretty massive, because even though he super attacked last turn, it's just another unit that we don't have to worry about attacking us this turn. So him being stunned is perfect. I want to try and get rid of Dr. Mew this turn if possible. So I'm going to target him with Cell and with Android 21, because obviously he is attacking her in the middle, has type advantage over her. Now, if he super attacks her, that would be really bad. So I'm trying to decide what to do here. And it seems like I am actually breaking rotation. Yeah, so I'm putting Android 13 in slot 2. Because there's 3 attacks from Rildo and 1 attack from Dr. Mew. So if I attack lower Dr. Mew with 21 to avoid the type disadvantage, she's got to take 3 attacks from Rildo, which is not really ideal for her. Like, he hits ridiculously hard. Whereas if we go ahead and put the Android 13 in slot 2, then he can obviously tank Rildo really, really well. Now, Cell goes ahead and double supers, so we could have left 21 there attacking Rildo. Although, actually, Mew survived with the tiniest sliver of health. So, even though you could almost say this is a waste, but this 13 finishes off Dr. Mew here, which means then he's only taking hits from Rildo. He does take a super attack, which in retrospect, I believe, yeah, with our health, look how low our health is. That super attack would have killed Android 21. So choosing to break rotation at that moment because it seemed the best way to play out that particular turn was another decision that was made that basically secured the W for this run. And that is something I think I've talked about in previous videos before, but when it comes to no item runs specifically and how difficult they can be, sometimes you have to do that, right? You just have to break your rotation. You can't stay married to, like, this has to be, like, my main rotation because, you know, in turns like this, for example, if there was multiple attacks in slot 3 and only one attack in the middle, I would consider putting 18 in the middle and actually floating off 16 because she just can't tank multiple attacks from different enemies. So that is something very important to bear in mind for any of these runs, even if you're doing ESBR runs with items, but it's a stage that you're failing and that you find particularly difficult. That is something to bear in mind, that you can, you know, mix and match your rotations a little bit. Now, it can cause issues because, of course, now that we have kept a 13 on rotation, whereas previously throughout the run we were using them as floaters, that means we are going to get a turn come up that has double 13s on it, which is not ideally what you want, but obviously we are able to play this out to our advantage. So we do get the stun on, was it Rildo? I was actually really not sure if I was going to survive that turn. Like after we, I believe we didn't get the stun on a particular unit, and I really wasn't sure if we were going to live. But we managed to survive. Like, again, 18 with the attack lowering. If she'd been super attacked at the end or something like that, it would have been GG. So we managed to get into this turn. We get the heal from Cell. Now, because Rildo is stunned, we actually are able to play off the double 13 rotation without a huge issue. Because I go ahead and put one of them in slot 1. So he can go ahead and attempt to stun Baby. So as I was playing this out, I think at this point I'd literally stood up with my phone in my hand. And was basically like, if we stun Baby here, we win. Now, we did not stun Baby. And then we get super attacked by Baby. So I'm panicking big time here. 460k. That is the large majority of our HP. So not great. But Cell, of course, big damage and he lowers attack. We get the additional normal. Not quite enough to finish him off. But with the attack lowering, he's able to tank for double digits. And of course, Rildo is stunned. Now, I was hoping we were going to stun Baby with the Android 13 in slot 1. So that's why I targeted Rildo with the other one. Fortunately, Baby wasn't attacking in the third slot. Because again, that could have been a decision that led to our downfall. I think because he was attack lowered, we would have survived it regardless. But this is a really sketchy turn. Like, look how low our HP is here. And there's not like a huge amount of same type orbs I can pick up. So I've got to try and play this out really carefully because I am relying on 17 and 8 to tank here. I'm going for the stun chance on Rildo because obviously that provides the most utility for the rest of the turn to play out. So I feel like this attack from them was probably a really pivotal moment in this final part of the run here. And them stunning Rildo basically secured the W because 16 is able to come in and finish off the tiny sliver of health of Rildo, and at this point, like, I am literally stood up being like, yes, this is the run, it's done, because Rildo is stunned, he's getting attack lowered and we're getting a little bit of a heal back, and so we basically have a free turn next turn. 21, the Queen coming in with the double super, so doesn't do the double attack lower but does give us a double heal, and then we're going to get a 13 transformation. But yeah, we are basically into the turn now where the final enemy is almost dead and they are stunned. So I believe this is the final turn. Oh, of course. When you're presented with this opportunity, you've always got to end things in style. So here we go. Hitting the active skill for Cell. The Solar Kamehameha. You and the Earth shall be destroyed. You goddamn pesky androids. Thorn in my side for however many hours of streaming. I really don't know. Gets the crit for good measure. And blows Rildo into oblivion. So there you go. That is Android's Extreme Super Battle Road, beaten on Global with no items before the release of the tech androids who make this stage an absolute joke because your boy, as you know, is the king of Super Battle Road. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Master Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below for the Discord and the merch store, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.